We're live.
Ready? We are ready. All right, good morning. Welcome to today's court enforcement hearing. My name is Maribel Roche. I'm going to be your special magistrate today. This is a quasi judicial hearing, which means it's similar to court that we see on TV, but the rules are less formal. Anybody who's here to speak on behalf of a case will have the opportunity to do so. The way the meeting is going to proceed this morning is we're going to have the city present the case, and thereafter, if we have a respondent in the audience, I'm going to ask them to go ahead and please come up to the podium, state your name, relationship to the case, and then whatever you want, whatever information you want to provide. At this time, for those who are going to be providing testimony this morning, please stand up for the taking of the oath. Raise your right hand. Do you swear from the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Okay, with that, I'll ask the city to please call the first case. Okay.
It's whoever's arriving now. Yes.
They have to get sworn in after one.
Okay, we're going to go to page 21 of the agenda, item number 56, case number 21-2585. Property address is 622 Wright Drive. Property owner is Maribel Camacho Marino and Mario Miguel Montaigne Camacho, code supervisor Hicks.
Good morning, Bob Hicks, City of Lake Worth Beach, case number 21-2585. Property located at 622 Wright Drive. The case was initiated on November 9th of 2021 for the following violations. Sections 12-18, remove all garbage, trash, and debris from entire property. Sections 2-5.6.2, repair all damaged fencing. Section 23.2-21, apply for and obtain for permits for pavers and rear structure. Pavers and the structure are in plan review and have been disapproved. Section 23.6.1, all other lots, areas not covered by driveways or structures shall be planted with living ground cover. Complied violations is 23.4-19 to remove all outdoor storage from the carport. We issued a courtesy notice on November 9th of 2021. Property was re-inspected on January 12th of 2022 and found to be in non-compliance. A formal notice of violation, certified mail for hearing was sent on February 17th of 2022. Certified mail was received on 2/23 of 2022. I also posted a property in City Hall on 2/22/22. Property was re-inspected on 4/20/2022 and last on 5/24 of 2022 and found to be in non-compliance. Photographs have been taken and attached to the file for your review. I did have personal contact with the property owners at the office. The city's recommendation time for the owner of the property was 30 days for June 27th. Or $50 per day fine, plus the administrative cost of $425.29 also to be paid by June 27th, 2022. They are in the audience.
Okay, and I think one of the violations was complied with, correct?
Yes, ma'am, the outdoor storage on the carport.
And the rest are still non-compliant.
Well, he came to me this morning, the structure in the rear.
Okay.
He removed it 2 days ago.
Okay, so that one would remove
That would be the permit for the structure that was in the rear, but the pavers are still in plan review.
Okay, so it doesn't, just the shed one, but not the paver one.
Correct.
All right, let's hear from the property owners. Please state your name and relationship to the case, please.
My name is Mario Montaigne. I'm the owner of the house.
Okay, all right, so do you understand all the violations that were addressed by the code officer?
Yeah.
Okay, so what are you guys doing to go ahead and get in compliance?
The grass in the backyard, but I'm waiting to get the permit for the driveway.
Okay,
So I got the I said, I got the papers in my backyard, so I don't want to put the grass. And then when I get the papers, mix it up.
What's the holdup with the pavers?
It failed inspection and while they were at the office the
Okay.
other day, I don't know what it failed for. But I told them to check with building to find out so they could resubmit.
So it was, the permit was actually issued, it was just in the actual
In
work
the plan review
performed.
stage, and
Okay.
then they must be missing some type of documentation.
Okay, weren't they already there? The reason that I'm asking is I'm trying to think ahead. If there's a setback issue that would require them to remove some part of the pavers, all the pavers.
That could be the issue. So the pavers they were going to install the pavers without a permit.
Okay,
So we stopped them. So then they applied for the permit. The permit's in plan review.
okay, so the pavers actually never went in.
And everyone, they're
Okay.
stored, they're stacked up, ready to be laid.
Okay, so do you understand that in order to go ahead and lay those pavers, you're gonna need that permit, right?
Yeah, I know.
And you understand that there's a holdup in the permits. I don't know for what reason, but there's a holdup on the permit.
I think it's because, we gotta put the right of way permit and, the other permit at the same time or something like that.
He's trying to make the driveway wider.
Oh,
Curb cut. Permit
Got it.
that.
so that's probably what is impacting the pavers. It's not some of the pavers themselves, probably the right of way portion.
But we sent the permit yesterday.
Okay, it was resubmitted.
Peter's gonna look off.
Okay, so he's checking. Because that sounds like zoning
Yes, that's where it's at right now.
and that could delay. All right, and the shed has been gone, so you understand with the shed being gone, you no longer need the permit for the shed. And the other thing we have here is the grass, and I think you just said that you didn't want to put the grass in until you had the pavers in.
Yeah.
Wasn't there also grass issue on the back? Or was it just the,
There used to be grass in the back when they purchased the property. All
Okay.
the grass is gone, they tore it up, so it's all sand,
so part of the compliance, they have to go ahead and
but
put
living sod.
in the back also?
Yes, ma'am.
So that's probably a portion that you already can start working on, is the sod portion on the back. I understand the part about the front because of the permit and the,
I got the papers on the back.
The pavers are stored in the back. There's nothing stored up front. So he wants to put pavers in the backyard and another driveway.
oh, got it. The papers are going in the back, not in the front.
No, in the front. But I don't want to put grass in the back, and then when I go to get the papers, burn the grass.
You're gonna have to be, it's circular.
Yeah. Well, I don't know what kind of driveway they're putting. I mean, you can see the photos. The
Yeah.
pavers are all stored in a stack in the backyard.
No, I looked at the pictures, as you were providing information about the compliance. Because it's a pretty decent sized
It's a big
backyard. So no matter what, it's gonna have to get resodded. Okay, so we're able to, oh, go ahead.
Peter Ringel, the permit has been submitted for the paver driveway. They do need to apply for a right-of-way permit because the curb cut needs to be the width of the right-of-way, and the driveway width needs to be specified on the plans. There are no pavers showing going in the backyard. Are you putting pavers in the backyard? Okay,
It looks like you're just storing them in the backyard.
Yeah.
Wow. So you have a permit application you haven't submitted yet, which is that zoning one we were talking about, the one about the right of way. What's the plan on getting that submitted? When are you getting that submitted? The right of way one? No, he's saying that there's a second portion of that permit for the right of way, because you're changing what you're proposing needs to get past the zoning. Go ahead.
so the process is you need to resubmit and on the survey, show the width of the driveway. And then you can come to the office and get a right-of-way application and apply for work in the right-of-way because the approach to the driveway needs to be the same width of the driveway. Once you resubmit that, it will go into review. And if it's appropriate, the permit will be issued.
Do you understand that? Okay. Okay, so we need to go ahead, then you understand that you need to now go to permitting and go ahead and address that right away so you can try to get it
Yeah,
through.
we go.
Okay, the officer is proposing till June 27, 2020 to go ahead and get that all corrected. Winter When's our next meeting?
The next one is June 30th.
30. And how backed up is zoning and reviewing right away?
Zoning is about 2 to 3 weeks on permits for driveways.
I think this one, we're gonna have to go to 6:30, 2020, 2022, because I don't think they're gonna make it under the 627. Okay, so my inclination right now is to extend a little bit more what the court officer recommended, June 27. Right now, my thought is to give it to June 30th, which is the next meeting, the next hearing. That way, if you encounter a problem that you don't have the permit because of X or Y reason, that you have the alternative of being able to come back, provide the other magistrate a status. But on that day, if you don't come, I'm gonna put fines that are gonna, they're not gonna run, they're gonna start on the 30th. So if you miss that hearing and you're not completely done, then the fines are gonna start accumulating, okay, on a per diem. All right, so if get started right away, you don't have a lot of time, and you heard him say zoning is about 2 to 3 weeks, that shortens your time, so get moving right away. But if you encounter any issues, make sure you get on the agenda for the next hearing, okay? All right, and again, I can tell you right now, you want to go ahead and make sure that you're applying right away. Because if you come to magistrate and you say, hey, I don't have the permit yet, and the magistrate figures out that it was because you never applied on time, you're not gonna get an extension. You have to show that you're actively moving towards getting a result, okay? All righty. Right, I hereby find that the violations as stated in the notice of violation did exist. I'm sorry? Oh, hey.
We want to give them a little bit more time, to July. We want to extend it to July.
Do you want to do the next hearing date? Okay, we can do that then.
Excuse me, July 28th.
Okay.
Is the next one.
So, okay, so they're gonna extend it to July 28th, which gives you another month. That probably is my hearing. So the next time you come up, if you need additional time, with 60 days, I don't think you will. But I'm gonna give you till that's next hearing date to go ahead and get into compliance, okay? All right, I hereby find that the violations as stated in the notice of violation did exist and continue to exist. I'm hereby ordering the property owner to come into compliance by July 28th of 2022. Otherwise, face a fine of $50 a day until the violations are corrected. I'm also granting the city's request in the amount of $425 with 29 cents in administrative cost and fees as incurred, which shall be paid by the July 28th, 2022 date. Okay. All right, you'll get something in the mail. Thank you.
Next, we're gonna go to page 5 of the agenda, item number 15, case number 22-267. Property address is 331 South F Street. Property owner is Jorge Pereira. Code Supervisor Hicks.
Good morning, Bobby Hicks, City of Lake Worth Beach. Case number 22-0267. Property address is 331 South F Street. I'm presenting this case on behalf of another code officer. Case was initiated on February 15th of 2022 for the following violations: 23.2-21 to apply and obtain permit for offense. 23.6-1 landscaping shall be maintained at all times, to contact the horticulturalist and apply and obtain permits for the security cameras. The complied violations are 2-75.6.6 to remove the storm shutters, and 2-75.6.2 to pressure wash and paint as needed. Those violations are complied. The permit for the security cameras, it's a low voltage system, so a permit's not required for the building department. No courtesy notice was issued. Formal notice of violation and hearing by certified mail was sent out on 3/14/2022. Certified mail was received on 3/17/2022. Property in City Hall were posted on 3/21/2022. Last reinspection was 5/16/2022 and found to be in non-compliance. I personally did not have any contact with the property owner. The city's recommendation time to approve the permits and for the landscaping is June 30th of 2022, or fines of $100 per day, plus the administrative costs of $425.29, also to be paid by June 30th of 2022.
All right. Please start, please state your name and relationship to the property. Okay, I speak Spanish, but I can't interpret. Do we have any, one of the court officers?
Not with us.
I'm looking at you because normally I don't do it. I do it at the end. Are you okay with me going ahead and interpreting? Okay. All right. Diga su nombre y la relación a la propiedad. Okay, he said his name, Jorge Pereda, and he's the owner of the property. Okay. ¿En qué pasos estamos para corregir las violaciones de la ciudad?
Me mandaron a sembrar los árboles y a sacar los permisos. Yo saqué los permisos y sembré los árboles.
Okay, hold on, because I gotta interpret. I'm doing triple beauty here. Okay, so he's saying that he had removed the trees and then he went ahead and put in new trees as requested. Pero había, what was the last, I know he removed the tree.
So he did put in 2 new trees.
Okay.
So when I inspected 2 days ago, those, it needs to get more water because they look dead to me.
Okay, so it's,
They're there, but
does that correct the compliance, those new?
I would need to
trees?
throw a horticulturalist out to see if those trees can be saved. Because
They look pretty dead.
yeah,
So assuming that they're alive and well, the
That would-
trees would violate,
yeah.
okay. Okay, so el problema que hay con que todavía está pendiente de la parte del landscaping es que pusiste los 2 arbolitos, pero parece que está muerto.
Sí, se han ido secando, pero estoy esperando a ver si es que están, por lo mismo me dijeron cuando me vendieron que podía perder las hojas, que después ellos volvían a echarlo.
Okay, so he says, I explained to him about the dead trees. He's saying that that he's aware, but that he was told that they kind of lose their trees and they eventually then come back. So I'm going to tell him now about your suggestion about the horticulturist.
and I can send Dave, the horticulturalist, an email.
Okay.
Come inspect them and then reply back to my email to see.
That would be great. Dice, la sugerencia de la ciudad es que retenga un horticulturista. No sé si lo dije bien. Una persona que brega con las plantas, que es especialista en las plantas. Y él le sugirió de que la ciudad tiene un horticulturista, horticulturist. I can't say it right. Okay, somebody who specializes in plants that they can go. He said that he can email to him to go out to the property and take a look at those trees and let you know what's going on with them. Okay. So, lo que estaba diciendo era que van a mandar a alguien para ver esa planta, para ver la condición que están, y entonces te pueden dar más detalles acerca de la planta. Pero ese es el problema con los 2 arbolitos. Okay.
Pero no hay problema, si acaso yo lo puedo resembrar otra vez.
He suggested he can just go ahead and put 2 new ones into. That's another.
If he wants to wait, let me send.
Yeah. So,
Spend the money.
lo que está diciendo es, en vez de gastar el dinero, espera a que te manden esa persona de la ciudad que vaya a los mire, por si acaso están vivos todavía y se pueden salvar. Pero si no, ese es el remedio, ponerlos nuevos. Okay. All right, so we got the landscaping taken care of. You already did the shutters. And the fence. Okay, la verja. Tienes una verja, la cerca, que no sacaste los permisos. ¿Dónde estás ahí en la aplicación de los permisos?
Yo saqué los permisos y lo que el inspector ha ido varias veces a lo de la cerca, entonces el inspector no ha mirado a la cerca, a la parte de atrás, va a la parte de delante de la casa buscando la cerca, porque la cerca ya está puesta.
El permiso. Pusiste la cerca sin permisos.
Sí, en la de atrás la puede sin permiso, pero después fui y saqué el permiso.
Donde he's saying that he has the fence permit. ¿Fue una aplicación lo que usted hizo o ya tiene el permiso en mano?
La aplicación, pero pagué el permiso, después
Okay, pero no ha recogido el permiso.
no.
Okay, ese ahí está el problema. Okay, so he corrected. He applied for the permit, but he has not paid for the permit, but he has not picked up
The permit was disapproved twice.
Okay.
The last time on 5/10, he needs to specify the materials he's using for the fence.
And that's something he missed in the application?
Correct. He needs to put that on the plan. He also needs to specify the height of the fence in the front yard. The maximum height is 4 feet.
What about the back one?
I'm sorry.
The back one, he has a back.
The back fence is specified and that's okay.
Okay, so it's,
But then the front fence in the front yard is missing the corner clip for the site triangle.
okay,
And then the fence along the side street needs to be set back 30 inches with landscaping in front of it. Those were the comments from the reviewer on 5/10.
okay, the side street setback, how much was the setback?
30 inches,
30 inches with landscape in front.
correct.
Okay,
If those corrections are addressed, then the fence would go through the plan review and the permit would be issued.
perfect. And those are also obviously handwritten for him or in
And the
some
comments are
fashion.
available online
Perfect,
in
okay.
English.
So, el permiso de la verja lo han rechazado 2 veces. Y la razón que lo han rechazado 2 veces, cuando te rechazan un permiso, te dan los comentarios de cómo tienes que corregir la aplicación para que pueda pasar. ¿Ok? So, eso está online en el internet. Puedes ir y buscar los comentarios, pero te voy a decir lo que él me dijo. Me dijo de que tu aplicación no tenía el tipo de material que usaste para la verja. Tienes que ponerlo en la aplicación. La aplicación no tenía la altura de la cerca en la parte de al frente. Pusiste la de atrás, pero no la altura de la de al frente. Y la de al frente tiene un máximo de 4 pies.
Ahí el error. Yo adelante no voy a poner cerca. La cerca es la que encontrar. Yo todo lo di la altura, los paneles, todo lo di de atrás. De adelante no hay cerca porque no la voy a poner.
Okay, so he said that he's not putting a fence in the front.
Right, there was no fence when I was there, it was just on the side and the back.
Okay, so I think that was the confusion because he said the only concern is back. That's it, he's not doing anything in the front with the fence.
So he needs to revise the plan, take the fence off the front and resubmit.
So the plan submitted actually has,
The fence going in the front yard.
okay, so el plan que usted sometió refleja que hay una cerca en la parte de al frente. Y por eso es que él está diciendo, por eso que lo siguen rechazando, porque están viendo una cerca al frente. Tiene que resometer la aplicación con un plan que no muestre la verja al frente, la cerca al frente. Porque ahora mismo, de la manera que ellos lo están recibiendo es, quiere una cerca al frente, puede hacerlo, pero estas son las restricciones. Como usted me está diciendo ahora que no, tiene que resometerlo, que no haya ninguna referencia acércate al frente para que pueda pasar. ¿Ok?
Un momento, porque yo al frente, lo que permiso que yo salga al frente, porque yo no me sabía decir si había que sacarlo o no. Yo lo hice para no buscarme problemas, porque al frente hay un muro que se estaba derrumbando. Entonces, una parte de él lo quité porque estaba cayendo el bloque, porque el mismo árbol que estaba lo rompió. Y para eso yo saqué el permiso, para eliminar ese muro, pero no para cerca.
¿Qué tipo de muro es? ¿Qué tan alto?
Era un muro alto.
Okay, he's saying that the reason that I think he might have been confused about the whole thing is that in the front of the property, he's saying that there is a concrete edge that he wanted to remove. So he thought he also needed a permit for that, to remove it. So no, usted no necesita permiso para eso.
No necesito permiso.
Sí, lo puede sacar, because apparently it started like falling apart and
Wall.
yeah, he says it's starting to like fall apart and he wants to remove it altogether. So that's why he thought he needed a permit. Okay, so para eso no necesita el permiso. Puede sacar ese murito, lo puede sacar, ¿ok?
Okay. Entonces, yo lo que voy a hacer es que voy otra vez con los papeles que yo le di de atrás y ya no nada más adelante, que pueden cancelar el permiso.
Exacto. Y hágale claro que solamente es para corregir la parte de atrás, ¿ok? Y a lo mejor así puede pasar. Okay, so he's going to go ahead and resubmit to the building department. He's going to physically go there and let them know that he's canceling the one about the little edge in the front. And he's gonna resubmit just for the back, and I told him, make sure that you explain to them that it's just about the back, so they can help you there.
Okay, and I will
Okay.
notify him on the trees once I get an answer from the horticulturalist.
Ok, perfecto. Sí, él entonces te va a verificar lo de los arbolitos, ok? Para el señor. Okay, then we have. This one won't have to go to zoning because it has no impacts and after the fact, right?
The fence reviews do go through zoning, and he's about 2 weeks out, but if he's meeting with Dave, the horticulturist, Dave is also the one who does the fence reviews.
Oh, okay.
So he can speak with Dave when he is there with the trees.
Okay, what I'm looking at now is for the recommendation for the deadline, 6/30/22. That's a month away. Can you make it within a month? Because it's already on, right? The fence is already there.
So,
So it's a matter of getting the after the fact permit. So I think for the 6/30, he should be okay.
I would give him one more month
Okay.
only because it's taking 3 weeks for the reviews. I would hate for him to run into fines because we're taking a little longer to review it. So
Okay.
give some time to get the permit issued, call it the inspection, close it out, and make it all go.
Got it. So we'll move it over to the 7/28 hearing. Okay, so lo que estamos haciendo es, le pregunté cuánto tiempo necesita, porque la parte de zoning está atrasada 2 o 3 semanas. Tenemos una cerca y tienen que llegar los setbacks, va a ser como puede ser 2 o 3 semanas el atraso. Y él sugirió que le diéramos hasta julio 28 en vez de junio 30, ¿ok? All right, I hereby find that the violations as stated in the notice of violation did exist and continue to exist. I'm hereby ordering the property owner to come into compliance by July 28th of 2022, otherwise face a fine of $100 a day until the violations are corrected. I'm also granting the city's request in the amount of $425.29, which shall be paid by July 28th of 2022 in regards to administrative cost fees and costs incurred by the city in bringing this matter before the magistrate. Okay, so acabo de entrar una orden en la que le doy hasta el julio 28 del 2022 de este año, sí, julio 28. Y si no tiene la propiedad en compliance, como se supone que la deba tener, van a empezar a sumarse todos los días $100. Si quiere moverse rápido para que no empiece a hacer las multas diarias de $100. ¿Ok?
Una pregunta, porque a mí ahí lo único que me queda es la cerca de que me dé problema. Si la cerca me da problema, yo la quito, porque siempre...
Eso vas a ver esa persona que va a ir para el arbolito, también sabe de las rejas, cualquier duda, usted le puede preguntar a él, ¿ok? So I explained to him, he was asking that if the permit was going to be an issue, he's like, I'll just remove the fence. So I told him, listen, the horticulturist is going there anyways, he knows about fences, any doubts, just talk to him. So,
If you can make sure if he thinks he needs to come to the July hearing to make sure.
Yeah. So, okay, so, and then en adición a eso, hay una multa, un assessment de $425.29, que es parte de los costos asociados por este hearing y todo lo demás, que tiene que ser pagado también para julio 28 del 2020. Todo se va a reducir en una orden escrita y se le va a enviar. Okay, por correo. Okay, y el otro request es que si tiene que regresar en el julio 28 del 2022 para ese hearing, tiene que traer un intérprete. Okay. Hoy se hizo una excepción para hacerlo, yo nunca lo hago, es la primera vez que lo hago, de hecho. Okay,
Yana, question.
yes.
You're not requesting that he come back to the.
No, I just told him if he needs to come back.
Okay.
Entonces, eso sí tiene que venir.
Okay.
Sí, que no tiene obligación de venir, pero si necesita venir porque pasó algo o quiere reportar algo, tiene que llamar a la ciudad, asegurarse que lo pongan en la agenda para esa fecha y traer un intérprete. ¿Okay?
Entonces, para esa fecha no es necesario venir, o
Si ya lo tiene ya hecho, no tiene que venir. No tiene razón, ¿por qué no?
Si para esa fecha yo veo que no me le dan solución a lo de la cerca, yo lo quito.
Okay.
Ya, que es lo único problema que me puede quedar ahí.
Y si pasa eso, manténgase en contacto con el, who's the officer who's handling it?
Camacho,
Okay.
but I'll oversee it if need be.
Okay, so manténgase en comunicación con la ciudad, con los oficiales, para que cuando si termina quitándola o termina cogiendo los permisos, denle una llamadita para que ellos sepan complied, okay, para que puedan ir a la propiedad y hacer la investigación y cerrar el caso. Okay? Okay, so he was just explaining the process to make sure that he stays in touch with you. So, and if whether he gets the permit or whether he removes the fence and complies that way, that he needs to stay in touch with code enforcement, let them know, because that's the only way he's gonna be closed out. Okay, all right, that's it. Thank you.
Que tenga buen día.
You ready?
Okay, next, we're gonna go to page 28 of the agenda, item number 73, case number 22-808. Property address is 1110 South Dixie Highway. Property owner is HA&A Corp. Inc., Officer Turek.
I'm sorry, could you repeat the case number?
1110 South Dixie. And Magistrate, were you sworn in, sir?
No,
Okay, could you raise your right hand? You swear from the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Right.
Okay.
Sue Elatori for the city of Lake Worth Beach, case number 22-808, owner HA&A Corp. Inc., address 1338 Lake Geneva Drive. This case is a repeat violation for 14-35, the use and occupancy inspection for the owner and the tenant. 1432 is the Lakewood business license, so without an inspection, you don't have a license. This was issued a courtesy notice for violation. Formal notice was 5/12. The property was posted on 5/16. There's been no extensions given. Photographs, personal contact with the owner, yes. And today is 15 days in a row from when I saw the violation and I'd like to have the fines at $250 per day until it comes into compliance. It has not been in compliance yet. The owner HA&A Corp. Is waiting on an inspection, but he cannot pass his inspection until his tenant gets a license. His tenant is Cadell Unisex. I was there as of yesterday doing the use and occupancy inspection, and it has failed because she does not have a business license. She's been working, trying to get it, but I have all the documents here and the notes from planning and zoning as to why she does not have a license yet.
Okay.
But to give you these, so you can take a look at them. But it'll run in fine until the tenant
That's
gets
it, yeah.
her business license and inspection. And I can do the inspection for the tenant at the same time, so we'll just be one trip. Yeah. And there's been 2 new businesses that have applied since that weren't on the case, but I believe they're wrong.
And he has these, right? So he knows why it's failing. The,
Yes, I've
Okay.
communicated with him several.
okay, good. All right. Okay, and we have the 250, and I think on your notations, you say 0 time and recommendation, but I think I heard you say 15 days.
No, he's been running in fine for 15
Oh,
days.
running in
This
fines,
will be
okay.
The order from the other cases. in
Got it.
file on the left side.
I did see it, yeah. I saw, I just saw it. I know it's there even before you said it, because I saw it. All right, what's going on with the property? I think that pretty much summarizes it's your tenant.
Well, then it's,
I'm sorry, say your name and relationship to the case. I got ahead.
yes, my name is Tony.
Okay.
And I'm the representative of the court.
Okay.
So the tenant has been at our property for 10 years, and she's had a license until now. So,
Yeah.
so yes, she's had a license until now. So I'm not aware of what the procedure is right now, with holding back the license. Can you get a copy of that?
I thought you said you had the copies of that.
I don't know.
Okay,
You're not the owner?
I'm the.
He's a- the registered agent.
Okay,
I'm the son of the
okay.
same address.
All right. Would you go ahead and have to see out those documents, please?
Suella, can you also have him sign in because he did not sign in? I need that for the record. He doesn't need that. I just need his name, please. And his signature. Thank you.
Are you local, sir?
Yes, I'm looking. I have a general contractor and my business. In the city.
Okay, I wish your father would have told me, I would have spoke to you personally, definitely, but I didn't know you existed.
He's out of,
I
This is back to 2019, 20. So it seems that the order I'm looking at is a 2019. So at some point in time, they were able to go ahead and, I'm assuming, get a license at least for 2020.
Right. So it's within 5 years, so he can be cited as a repeat.
Now, what I was thinking about is that he said that the tenant has been there for 10 years, and I'm seeing that looks like in 2019, he must have been able to get a license, so it's not impossible for him to get it.
Correct.
That's the good news.
Applying for.
It's just, it seems that's a problem with the application.
actually, okay.
So thanks for providing the information, because otherwise I would have been able to piece it out.
These are just extra documents.
Oh, okay.
I can go with them back.
Yeah, you can, you probably, let him have
No
it.
way I can-
That would have helped him.
Yeah, yes. And the needs and license.
Oh. So how do you want us to proceed on this?
Okay, so what, based on what the officer, oh yeah, go ahead, please say your name. You gotta come in here, you gotta state your name and relationship to the case, please.
Hello, I'm her daughter. I'm
Okay.
Speaking for her because I handled it.
Did you, were you sworn in?
Yes.
Okay,
I just didn't sign it, that's why I didn't do it.
When you're done.
Okay, no problem. The only issue she had a cosmetology license which expired November of this year,
okay,
which has been active and running. She renewed it and she has a salon license for cosmetology, but her barber's license is what she has. So to work. So what they were saying that she has to do is change the salon license to a barber's license, which is what they told her yesterday,
Mhm.
the day before yesterday. So this whole time we've been, renewing the salon license for cosmetology, when in reality she should have done a barber's license, which is now what they're telling her she has to do. She did it the same day. Have receipts and I have all the paperwork here, all her licenses are here as well.
okay.
So it's kind of been a confusion on what kind of license she should have to operate in there. And she's been, she's used to going to class and doing it that way, but everything is kind of like online now. So I had to do everything for her. So I guess that's where the confusion.
Okay, so you said that you have verification about the changing license. Okay, so let's go ahead and see that, because that might be your first step towards actually getting a correct application. Whichever one you got that you think is going to go ahead and correct the issue.
I would all the licenses. But I didn't,
Your Honor, I would just like to let you know that it's been denied by planning and zoning, and the planning and zoning notes are here. As far as what they just stated, that was a suggestion. that would be easier for them for their path, because I don't think they're understanding the pathing.
And that's where I'm trying to get to, is the first part seems like there's an issue with the license, so if they corrected the license, that might correct the application.
Right, this is what this, and on the other side is what planning and zoning is telling them. to
Might
do.
have asked one, three, if you don't say you have to look. Yeah. All right, so go ahead and show it to her, because she's gonna know more.
It's right here. You did it in the application. Same day.
This is not something I look
Okay,
at, it
so-
goes through planning and zoning.
So this is something, okay. let me see.
Yeah, it's in process. It's been paid.
I don't know, I've been
Well,
here.
there's, hold on. There's two separate issues here. One of them, let me go back. One of them is going to be the first step, which would be, I guess, the fixing of the licensure. Again, I'm not sure if that's what planning and zoning is correct, is getting at, but it sounds like you might be in the ballpark. That's one thing. Then you'll now have to do the application to go ahead and get that license. Because the license, the application that was submitted before that was denied was based on the cosmetology, as the shop being a cosmetology license, having a cosmetology license, which it didn't. So that would be step one, is now you have the license, now you have to reapply under the correct section of the city code, which would be as a barber shop, not as a cosmetology shop, okay?
That's what we.
So you have the first part, but with DVPR, but that has no relevance. DVPR and the city don't connect.
Okay, so as soon as they send that license, we're waiting on it.
So if I were you, you have something online, I wouldn't wait. I would go straight to zoning now and submit the application, present it to them. So at least one, they know you're working on it. And two, it might be possible that they, again, I don't know, but it might be possible they might accept the electronic version.
Okay.
There might be some numeric application that they know about that they can go ahead and take down or something. But at least you can go there and you can get the full information early on so that you don't keep delaying. Because right now, because it's the second time this happens, this is a repeat violation, which means that the request that the officer made for the $250 a day is available to the city by law. Okay, so normally they would be a lot lower, but because it's the second time it happens within a 5-year span, you get tacked with double, sometimes even more fines, okay? All right, so the officer has requested 0 time to go ahead and come into compliance with that $250, which means even today, being here right now, you're getting fined. So the faster you get that done, the faster you'll be able to stop those fines. That's why I'm suggesting, how are you?
To the property owner.
The problem it goes against the property owner. You're right. Because if there's a lien at the end of the day, I guess it's your property and it's commercial. So that's why I'm saying you don't want to waste time. If I were you, I would leave here, go straight to zoning and start handling that.
May I just
Yeah.
remind, okay, so once you get your license approved, you still have to have
That's-
an inspection. So you have to schedule that inspection like that. And that's when it.
Yeah. So it's just not automatic.
Okay.
Okay. All right, perfect. All right, I hereby find that the violations as stated in the notice of violation did exist and continue to exist. I'm hereby imposing the fine of $250 a day as a repeat violator until the violation is corrected. I'm also granting the city's request in the amount of $425.29 in regards to administrative fees and costs incurred by the city in bringing this matter before the magistrate. That shall be due and payable within 30 days,
When are you starting the repeat violation fine?
immediately,
Starting today or?
starting today. Starting today. Okay.
I thought it started on the day I saw it. It's already been running for 15 days.
Okay, so by the ordinance actually says that it's from the first day. Okay, so I'm correcting it. It's gonna start from the date that the violation was cited, which was
Well,
May 12th. Okay, so going to. Okay. You'll get something in the mail. Thank you.
Okay, next we're gonna go to page 1 of the foreclosure agenda, item number 4, case number 20-2724. Property address is 711 South Federal Highway. Property owner is 2 Matthew LLC. Krista Simmons, Compliance Admin Manager. The lien on this property was recorded on August 4th, 2021, so it has met the statutory 90 days.
Okay, and that's at 1618 South Federal Highway, heard you say, right? Number 2?
No, I'm sorry, number 4, 711 South Federal.
Got it, 711 South Federal. Right. Okay, recorded on August 4th of 2021.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, do we have somebody here on behalf of the property owner?
Yes, Jamie Gavigan, I'm an attorney for the representing property owner.
Okay. The city's moving to go ahead and get authorization for foreclosure.
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
And I just to bring it to your attention, our client purchased property in March 2020. And once they tried to get the business license for a motel, at that time they applied, they realized that the license on the city level did not match the license at the state level. And they entered into a settlement with the city, and I think it was June of 2021. At the time they entered the settlement, they didn't appreciate the complexity of how to get the city license, the state license to be compatible, just because if you went either way, there's things that need to be done with the property. So at this point, he's hired our firm, Jones Foster. We've hired an architect, we're hiring a land planner to be diligent to resolve these issues. So to the extent that, he's committed to correcting violations, he's retained their necessary professionals to do so. We're on top of it. Just wanted to let you know. Let's go with the city attorney. So that's where we are. I just wanted to give you an update. We're being diligent to correct it. I understand, the process of how things have gone. He didn't retain us until fairly recently. So that's what we're doing.
All right, so obviously you understand that there's no reason for me to deny the city's request to get the authorization, but obviously I'm glad to hear that you're talking to the city attorney because.
Yeah, and we want, whether or not this happens today, we're committed to correcting the violations, resolving it without having that chance to go through.
All right. Good. All right. I hereby find that based on the evidence presented, that the lien has been properly recorded since August 4th of 2021, and that the city can go ahead and now proceed with foreclosure proceedings if it so wishes. Thank you.
Okay, next we're going to go to page 21 of the agenda. Item number 57, case number 21-2601. This is a status hearing for the property at 201 Date Palm Drive. Property owner is Julio Alberto Vargas, Code Supervisor Hicks.
Magistrate, this property was brought to you 2 months ago, and we gave the client 2 months to get a professional in to get a second opinion on the mobile home. This was the mobile home that was legally converted. So one had the 5 doors put in. And since then, the owner they did have tenants inside the units, which I found out from the management at the trailer park, that all the tenants have been removed from the property. So now it's just the owner living in the property. Mr. Ringel can also speak because I did submit a permit yesterday.
Right, so where are we with the permit? Because I'm looking here.
You're actually under process.
I'm gonna hear from the officer first, from the building department. Because he can look at the computer, he has more information than you do. He'll get us updated.
Okay, so the permit was submitted yesterday. I'm about a week behind on reviews, but while I was sitting here, I did review it. There will be comments on it. The permit as submitted will not be approved, but there is a path moving forward to bringing this into compliance as long as the appropriate plans are submitted with the appropriate documentation.
Okay, that windows. So we have was there an engineer certifying that the structure was
No,
structurally
the
sound?
plans are not, that's one of the issues. The plans were just submitted by the general contractor. They were not certified by a structural engineer as required by the statute.
Okay, especially because it was messing around with the structure itself.
Correct. And that will be in the comments that they'll get by Tuesday.
Now, that explains why I did a status. Give me a second, let me go ahead and get my bearings back. It's in. This, wait, hold on, this is what's the original order?
Right on the
That's
top,
on
maybe.
the top.
That's the lien.
That's the original order.
Oh, okay, so, oh, that's because you guys report the orders and the lien.
Correct.
Okay, so it was March, okay, go ahead, state your name and relationship to the case.
Michael Garcia, I'm the attorney.
Okay.
The owner. As you recall, we were before you 2 months ago.
Mhm.
We talked about whether the property can be brought into compliance or not. That's why we needed 60 days. We have professionals that are gonna do that. Obviously, we're gonna have to just we'll receive the revisions, submit that. As he said, there's a path, I believe there's a path forward. Obviously, we need to comply. It took them a little time to get professional because of the situation. But obviously, we still want to move forward with that path of bring this into compliance by fixing.
Did you understand the part about the need for the structural engineer?
I completely understand.
Okay.
This was submitted and I kind of saw it and I understood that there were going to be some comments coming back.
Yeah.
So we're clear with that. As soon as we get the comments, we'll get the structural engineer and address all the comments that the city has.
Has the structural engineer been retained yet or not
I
yet?
don't believe so. We're still kind of work with that, but we got the contractor. It took us some time, so we're gonna work with him to get the structural engineer as well.
Okay, who did the drawings then?
It's also the contractor, he's a contractor designer. So it's,
Oh, he's got,
yeah,
but is he a licensed architect?
he's a licensed contractor. And that's what I need to confirm because we just returned, but they.
Yes.
As Peter Ringgold, as a licensed general contractor, they can draw plans.
Understood.
But in this case, the statute is clear about requiring a structural engineer. So
All right, I think your client wanted to talk, but I don't know.
He's the
Okay.
contractor.
Oh, got it. No, I knew about that.
Okay.
I-
Our own engineer, so, and that's what I would want to.
Yeah. Okay. All right, so, it's vacant, so I'm happy to hear about that. Does this property need to be secured? Is it?
No,
need to be
it's not
secured?
vacant. He lives there.
Oh, I'm sorry.
He
Lives
had
there.
tenants.
Yeah, tenants that was an issue.
Okay.
We rectified the issues that we can rectify immediately. Obviously, the issue that can't be rectified immediately is some of the modifications.
And does the city feel that it's in enough safe condition that there can be somebody living there? Okay. Just want to make sure we don't have any,
yes,
safety.
for the record.
Okay.
You can't hear.
I'm gonna put you on the spot. How much time? To the building officer? Sorry.
Sorry.
I'm putting you on the spot. How much time on it? Because it seems that,
For structural engineers, I would say 90 days, just out of a superabundance of, things are incredibly busy right now and it's hard to get people to do things.
Yes.
90 days, you think 90 days for full compliance?
90 days for full compliance, yes.
All right. What's the next one?
August 25th.
25th. All right, so I'm gonna just go ahead and move it over to that next hearing, just in case you guys need to go ahead and get back on the agenda.
Oh, your next, oh, sorry, let me find I don't know if you're,
Mine would be all the way out in September.
right, so you're good with the other magistrate?
I'm perfectly fine. It doesn't matter to me. So long as he's okay with taking them, it makes no difference. Okay, and if we did a status, has the property owner been cooperative throughout?
Yes, they have been.
Okay, would the city oppose a stay of the fines until that August 25th, 2022? I asked the city. Anybody? Anybody?
We'll stay on. 2 months. And we just submitted.
It's just a large project though, because of the structural elements. So I can see this one being one that's gonna come back on mitigation regardless.
No,
Okay. So we will not be staying the fines. We're gonna let it run. However, at the end, what's gonna end up,
How much are the funds?
you have, the order has it at a per diem of $50 a day. So it's not terribly high, especially for the violations we're dealing with. So $50 a day. And then after everything's complied with, the city ordinances allow you to go ahead and request a mitigation hearing.
The only thing we're trying to come into compliance, and I would request that this compliance be stayed. I just want to put that on the record.
Okay.
Because we all work, it's not like we just disregarded the city. It is taking some time. We've reached out to code officer. We met with him, so the contractor can meet with him and the contract, so he can tell the contract exactly what needs to be met. So we would request that it be stayed until that point.
Okay, so what ends up happening is that even if it runs, if it doesn't stay, the fines that you have are $50 a day. And once you're good in compliance, because a lot of times that's the hook that the city has. It's the only, one of the little powers that the city has to go ahead and make sure things come into compliance is the specter of those fines accumulating. Experience shows us that sometimes if we go ahead and say fines, people just sit and don't get it done, and they come back and say, oh, I need more time. And obviously, but you've been here for probably about an hour now. You've seen me say that to every single person that appears. Make sure you do it right away. So like I said, at the end, once it's a compliance, you guys have the right to go ahead and request for mitigation. And based on the cooperation that you have with the city, then that can be a significant reduction. I think it's what, 10%, I think it is.
90% occupied.
Yeah,
Also save all receipts.
yeah, save all receipts.
And we can use those receipts for the fines.
Okay. All righty. On this one, because it just came for status, I really don't, and we're not staying, I really don't have to do anything with it. Just have them come back on 8/25. So on 8/25, we're setting you for that date. If you comply beforehand, just obviously stay in touch with your code officer, because there's a chance that you might not even need to go ahead and come here for that 8/25 status. If it's complied with before then, which could be a possibility. Okay, and then once that happens,
Donna, do you
Yeah.
even want to set the status? The fines are running.
yeah, that's what I'm thinking. It's like, I mean, it's up to you guys. I don't have to put the status for 8/25. It's just an avenue just to go ahead and just keep us posted on what's going on. But again, and obviously you hired an attorney and he's going to charge you for coming here. So it's up to you guys. We don't have to have it on 8/25.
It's up to you, Your Honor, if you want us to show up. If not, I understand what you're saying. That's the sooner we finish, the sooner this is done.
Well, let's do this. Let's do this. You know about that 8/25 hearing. If you need to come, call the city and get on the agenda. Okay, that way you don't have an obligation to do it. You just have the option of doing it. But again, as you said, save your receipts, and once it's complied with, let them know, and then get on the mitigation portion, okay?
Okay.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, next one.
Okay, next, we're gonna go to page 52 of the agenda. I'm sorry, 22. Item number 59, 22-208. Property address is 641 Barber Avenue. Property owner is Philomene Raymond. Code Supervisor Hicks.
Morning, Bob Hicks with the city of Lake Worth Beach. Property address is 641 Barber Avenue. Case was initiated on February 8th, 2022 for the following violations. 12-17, remove all garbage cans and recyclable containers from public view. 12-18, remove all garbage, trash, and debris from the entire property. Sections 23.2-21, permits required for installation of pavers, walkways, and rear yards, and side door on the north side of the house. Those violations are still active. The compliance violations are sections 15-39, unlicensed inoperable vehicle, Section 2-75.6.2 to remove all mildew, rust stains from structure, walkways, driveway, and hedgerows must be visible from the road. Section 2-75.6.7 all overgrown hedges growing on the sidewalk and to remove all dead decayed plant material from front yard. Courtesy notice was not given. Formal notice of violation and hearing was issued by certified mail on February 22nd of 2022. Certified mail was returned to sender. So we posted a property in City Hall on February 23rd of 2022. Property was re-inspected on 4/20 of 2022 and last on 5/24 of 2022 and found to be in non-compliant. Photographs have been taken of the property and they're in the file for review. I did have personal contact with the property owner. The city's recommendation time, June 27th of 2022, or $50 per day. Fine, plus the administrative cost of $425.29 also to be paid by June 27th of 2022. The permits are in plan review and they were disapproved. And we're here today.
All right, do we have a reason why that permit was disapproved?
I'll look it up right now.
So there's the two items that remove the garbage cans and the recycling containers and the garbage, trash and debris that was not complied with.
No.
The first two?
Because the whole backyard, as you can see from the photos, is full of trash and debris.
Yeah.
Initially, we thought she was just putting pavers down on the walkway. Come and find out they're trying to paver the entire backyard, as you can see from the photos.
Mhm. Okay. So he's checking on the permit.
Yes.
It's okay. I noticed that.
There's no permits in the system for 621 Harbor Avenue.
641.
Yeah, there's a permit for pavers. And the plan had insufficient detail for him to determine where the pavers were going. And they needed to fill out a lot coverage form for how much of the yard is being covered with pavers. That's for the pavers, and then there's a second permit for windows and doors.
Okay.
And that permit was disapproved back on April 7th, and there has been no submittal. And the comments are,
I'm sorry, you said was it denied or approved?
it was denied.
Okay.
They provided the wrong door sizes on the plan. They need to revise the plan to have it accurately reflect what the size of the door should be. Because they have the door as 5 foot 3 inches tall on the plan.
Do they need the NOA on it or just the information regarding the?
I'll look and see in the file. See.
I know typically for those, they ask for the.
Actually, during one of my inspections, I did meet with the property owner and advised her of the comments.
Okay, so she knows about
Yes.
that.
And that was on 4/20 during one of my inspections.
Okay. All right, we'll check on that. Let me go ahead and have her state your name and relationship to the case.
Yes, my name is Philo Memo.
Okay.
Yes.
Um,
The family we're talking, I'm working on it. For the property, I'm working on it, but for the kinder farm, I do it, right?
Okay, it seems that, do you understand, we have few issues. One of them relates to the garbage cans and the containers and some of the trash and stuff you have in the backyard that needs to be cleaned up.
Yes, I'm cleaning.
Okay, so that's been cleaned up?
Yes.
Okay, when did you clean that up?
Which one you talking?
The backyard,
The backyard.
the front yard.
Is.
It's fine, but the backyard is the problem.
Painted, the back is, the backyard's full of debris.
Okay, so he's talking about,
The backyard, they say stop it until I have this, right? That's why I don't touch nothing yet. So we have to clean it now.
We had a building inspector
okay,
go to the property because they were also building an illegal shed with no permit.
I saw in the picture, yeah.
That wasn't cited by me because I didn't see it. But while we were there, we seen all the other debris in the backyard.
Okay, so you understand that that is a concern.
Yes, but I know it's there, everything you are asserting, but for the private, it was there before. So I don't know if you are remove, and they wanna have this, now, remember, put the new one. I don't know if it's there, I suppose I have the permit, and then he told me, but I applied for that.
Okay,
But for the shelter, it was no good, the front is, we can do nothing, even we put something in there, the water go in there, they run it. I try to replay it. I don't know too if you have, if it's there before, I don't know it.
it doesn't, there's a common misconception. People think that just because you bought it with that, an illegal shed or any code violation, that all of a sudden like they're
Yeah.
forgiven.
Yeah.
It doesn't work that way. If you buy a property with a violation, you just bought it. You just bought yourself a violation.
Okay, but
That's-
I have to work on it, but I work
Correct.
on it, I try to work on it, for the thing after, I work on.
Okay, so let me ask you this. Do you have somebody helping you with this?
My cousin helping me, but coming little by little.
Okay, because it seems that you might could use somebody that knows about the permitting process
Yes.
to sit with you. If you're doing it by yourself, have you gone physically to the building department to see if somebody can help you? Or you've been trying to submit everything online
For
for the permit?
the permit, no, I would that for the permit.
Okay, so maybe you want to go ahead and ask for assistance while you're there, if you're going to do this by yourself, because there's a lot of stuff missing here that is basic information that should have gone in that application that you did not have.
Okay.
And it sounds to me that you might not have the knowledge base to submit that application, because there might be things that you don't know about.
Yes, a lot of things I don't know.
I think she is trying to do it by herself.
Yeah, and I think that's going to be the problem. And my concern is, you've heard me say that there's going to be per diem fines if things don't get complied with. And if you don't have somebody helping you and you keep spinning your wheels,
Okay.
resubmitting it over and over again, you're going to start getting fined.
Okay.
Okay, so you probably want to see if maybe you have a friend who does construction or is a handyman that
Yes.
can help you with that,
Yes.
with that stuff.
She's been very cooperative.
Yeah, but it
I
seems,
think she understands.
I don't think she understands. I agree. So you look like you're a nurse? Are you in the,
For the assistant.
yeah, I got help in the health?
Yes.
So one thing that I said, when I said that you might not have the knowledge base about that, please know that I know nothing about medical. So it was not trying to go ahead and say you didn't,
Yeah.
it's, I barely know where my knees are.
Yes.
So-
I'm trying to find something like that.
So yeah, you probably,
Yeah.
we all need some help sometime, so.
Yes, I need it. That's what I need. I don't know, I'm by myself.
I
I don't know.
I noticed that right away, and based on the information missing, I kind of figured you were trying to do it by yourself without bothering anybody.
Help me with those, I work on those.
Okay, so just go ahead and show those to the officer.
Yes. He's working with.
Yeah, I've seen all
I've seen them.
That's why I gave her the notes of why it was just approved to go back down to the office to resubmit.
Yeah.
I just don't know if she ever went.
So you have, and remember, you have two permits. You have the one for the door,
Yes,
And then-
I've paid those already, and then they say,
and then, so the door one got denied. And that's when you, I
That's
think
what
you
it is.
heard me when he was talking about the dimensions of the door. So the dimensions of the door are wrong.
there's one.
There's
There-
more,
The
there's a
museum-
lot more.
There's,
You have to view the folder. There's a lot more you need to do. If you want to set up a meeting, I will give you my card. You can send an email. And I will be happy to meet with you and go over what's needed in order to get the permits issued that you need.
Okay.
yeah,
Well,
but again, you probably want to have, if you have a friend who's a handyman or a contractor,
yes.
that can help you with it.
Yeah, because I don't know, I know.
This is not something, yeah, this is not something that most people deal with.
I have a problem enough for someone to help me put the new door, but I know that.
Okay, so do you remember you have two? You also have the issue with the with the pavers.
The purpose.
Now-
Not the purpose I'm working on, that the paper I'll show you are working on.
Okay, So we have, now that also is an application that is missing information, including how much of the lot is going to be covered in pavers. We had the setbacks and you have some more information that you need, that again, you're gonna need assistance to go ahead and get those through, okay?
Magistrate, I was just talking to Mr. Ringo. He stated that all the issues that she's having with the permits, that he's thinking she's gonna need a lot more time.
Yeah.
Like 90 to 120 days with the
Yeah.
issues that she's having. If you see from the photos, that they started paving the entire backyards of pavers.
I saw it. So she has a pair that. What's the 120 day mark? What's the next one? September one? Okay.
29th.
September 29th. Okay, so I'm gonna give you till September 29th to go ahead and get your ducks in a row and complete the work. That's a lot of time that I'm giving you. So make sure that you go ahead and, like I said before, get moving with it. Go ahead and set up your meeting with the officer, find somebody to go ahead and help you with the process so you can go ahead and get this over and done with, okay? Because otherwise, like I said, fines will start occurring, okay? All righty, I hereby find that the violations as stated in the notice of violation did exist and continue to exist, and hereby ordering the property owner to come into compliance by September 29th of 2022. Otherwise, face a fine of $50 a day until the violations are corrected. I'm also granting the city's request in the amount of $425.29 in regards to the costs incurred by the city, bringing this matter before the magistrate. And you're going to get that in the mail. Thank you.
Okay, next, we're going to go to page 4 of the agenda. Item number 11, case number 22-2. Property address is 1601 7th Avenue North. Property owner is Yolaine Cias and Amanel Mias. Code Supervisor Hicks.
Good morning, Bob, Hicks, City of Lake Forest Beach. Presenting this case on behalf of another code officer who's not here today. Property location is 1601 7th Avenue North. Case was initiated on January 3rd of 2022. The existing violations is sections 23.2-21 to apply and obtain and approve building permit for installation of the fence in the front and rear and side yards. And close out expired permit 15-2402. Sections 23.4-19 to remove all outdoor storage stored on porch and carport area. Sections 12-17 to remove garbage containers and recycle bin from public view. Sections 2-75.6.6 to remove all boards and lift up all storm shutters for means of egress. 2-75.6.2 property shall be maintained, paint areas where it may exhibit signs of peeling, chipping, dirt, or discoloration. The complied violation is 2-75.9. Formal notice of violation and hearing was issued by certified mail on 4/29 of 2022. Certified mail says it's still in transit. We did post the property in City Hall on 5/3 of 2022. Property was re-inspected on 3/30 of 2022. I last re-inspected on 5/24 of 2022. Photographs have been taken to show the violations and are attached in the file. I personally have not had any contact with the property owner. City's recommendation time is May 9th, 2022, or $100 per day, plus the administrative cost of $425.29 to be paid by May 9th of 2022. Did I say May?
It
Oh,
does.
sorry, June 9th. $1601 7th Avenue North.
Okay. And then as of this date, there has been no application for the permit?
There's an old fence permit that's expired, and then I think they're.
Number that you quoted, 24.
It's a 15.
2402 is not for that address.
There's a permit in the system for a fence.
Yeah, I'm gonna look it up by address. If you don't want to-
Okay, well, he checks up on. Sir, could you please state your name and relationship to the property, please?
And Johnson Mays, capital J-O-S-N-E-R, last name M-E-S.
Okay. And what is your relationship to the property?
Property belongs to I, and I'm Manel Mays, and your name says my parent.
Okay, those are your parents? Okay. All right, so, have you seen the violations that, the city has filed against the property?
I seen the city wrote me a letter, but I also wrote back to Tamika, I believe. was,
Okay.
And I didn't get an answer back. And that was basically, her answer to me. And the letter I sent her, it said that if she doesn't have no problem to write me back, and she never did write me back.
Okay, what was the purpose of the letter? Is it-
It was answering all the, violations.
Got it, okay. So, all right, so let's go ahead and discuss them, because the officer said that there was one that you complied with, which was the one regarding the landscaping. So that one seems like it was taken care of. All right, the biggest one that stands out to me is the issue regarding the shutters. I think I saw, let me see, go back again. Yep. So you have some boards and some storm shutters that are deemed a fire safety problem, because of course, it's, God forbid, there's a fire, those things are sealed, nobody can escape through them. Have those been taken care of?
No, because I believe that there's no man or woman here that have the right to tell me what I could do with my property.
Okay, so is this gonna be your response as to
That's
everything?
my response to everything.
Okay, so that'll make it easy. All right, I hereby find that the violations as stated in the notice of violation did exist and continue to exist. I'm hereby ordering the property owner to come into compliance by June 9th of 2022. Otherwise, face a fine of $100 a day until the violations are corrected. I'm also granting the city's request in the amount of $425.29, which shall be due and payable by June 9th of 2022. And that $425.29 is in regards to fees and costs incurred by the city in bringing this matter before the magistrate. Okay.
Okay, next, we're gonna go to page 28 of the agenda, item number 72, case number 21-55. Property address is 930 South D Street. Property owner is Carol M. and Carlton B. Johnson, Officer Turek.
Supervisor for the city of Lakewood Beach, previously sworn. Case number 21-55, Carolyn Carlton Johnson, 930 South D Street. The property location is the same, 930 South D Street. The reason for the code case was a complaint. This was also originated from another zone officer who is no longer here. The violations left on the property are to please remove, replace, or repair the fence. All other violations have been complied.
Okay, good.
The issued courtesy notice for the violation on 10/5/21. It was re-inspected several times to be found in non-compliance. Formal notice of violation and hearing was issued via certified mail on 3/1/22. The mail was received on March 4th, 22, and the property was posted on 3/3/22. There has been no compliance extension given. The property was re-inspected 4/18/22, 5/20/22, and as of yesterday, I drove by the property. There are photographs in the file. You look at, I have had personal contact with the owner, and the recommendation of time is July 15th, 2022 to either apply for a permit, repair it, or remove it. Administrative cost of $425.29 to be paid by July 15th, and a fine of $75 per day if it's not complied.
All right, could you state your name and relationship with the case, please?
Carlton,
And Carol Jones.
You guys are so close to being done. The fence,
The fence,
you can just remove the fence and you're done.
we had someone to come out and give us estimates for the fence. And we were waiting on them to get back to us. Only to find out they wanted us to do a land survey. So
You heard me every time we raise the issue of zoning in 3 weeks. That's what we're talking about. Plus the survey takes, they've been behind for some probably months and months. They probably take about at least 2 weeks at the earliest to come out.
yeah, we're gonna have it just taken down.
That was gonna be my suggestion, because if you decide to, you can take it down and you can still move forward with putting a new fence if you want to, but you're fine stuff. Because if you gotta take it out anyways, might as well do it now. And just that way you go ahead and get in compliance, so. And then if you want to put a new fence, then now you know about the permit, you know what you need to do, and you're good.
My question, do we have to take down all of the fence?
Suggested.
Or just the back? The back one is what's falling.
Back and the side, but
Why
the
don't
fence
you-
is supposed to be symmetrical, so if it's not going the whole way around, I would assume that you're not gonna be allowed to put back up to the fence, so the whole thing would be.
We were told that the chain link fence was still allowed in that work.
No, sir.
They were coded.
I can get back to you with that answer. I don't want to give you that information. But on residential properties, I don't believe chain link fence is allowed in here. But like I said, on commercial properties, we can do vinyl coated, but I believe residential. I can look it up right now if you wish.
But theoretically, couldn't they just remove the part that's falling off and keep the
And-
part, because when it was put in, it was permitted.
Correct.
So it's the minute you touch it, because that's touching it.
Well, what does it say, Tom? He's got, Bobby has it up. Section 23.4.
Says they're supposed to be symmetrical, so if it's.
Yeah, the ordinance back then says it has to be symmetrical. So normally I know that if it was legal when it was put in and it's there, it's legal non-conforming, exactly. The problem is that so long as it's okay, you're good. The minute you touch it, it triggers the new ordinance and the new codes. So if you remove the part that's falling, you've touched it, which now triggers the entire thing out of code, which means you probably need to go. I think that's what he was trying to say, that you couldn't just pick off half. Because that would trigger
Right.
now it's not conforming, it's out, so the whole thing has to go. I tried. But yeah. Okay, so,
It's only allowed for residential.
yeah, so yeah, the problem is the minute we touched it, yeah.
So what would be our, what would be our choice of fencing?
Do you have,
Check with planning and zoning.
Metal,
I'm sorry.
wood,
Uh-huh.
vinyl fencing. They also have metal picket fencing. Those are the options.
Okay.
You can do shadow box, picket fence.
and again, my recommendation is gonna be remove
For now.
it now, because that triggers another issue.
Okay.
The availability of those panels, especially if you go with PEC, they're about 2 or 3 months behind. So again, another reason to go ahead and remove it, get into compliance by removing it, and then go about your merry way. Just go ahead and pick whichever fence you like. You don't have to do it immediately if it's because they're getting expensive, so you might need to wait a little bit, but again, that's up to you guys. But by removing it, you're in compliance, you're good.
And that has always been an option.
Yeah,
Since,
But it has-
since
just trying to-
October of last year.
we're just trying to say-
I think they were just trying to go ahead and make sure that they had a fence. I don't know if they have a dog or.
Yeah, corner house, so it's- Okay.
All righty, so let me go ahead and go ahead into my order. I hereby find that the violations as stated in the notice of violation did exist and continue to exist only solely as to the fence portion. I'm hereby ordering the property owners to come into compliance by July 15th of 2022. Otherwise specifying of $75 a day until the violations are corrected. I'm also granting the city's requesting the amount of $425.29 in administrative costs and fees as incurred by the city in bringing this matter before the magistrate, which shall be due and payable by July 15th of 2022. All right, and you're gonna get an order on that. All right, good luck to you. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next, we're gonna go to page 1 of the agenda. Item number 2, case number 13-948. This is a public request for a lien reduction at the property located at 511 Lucerne Avenue, unit number 301. Property owner is Jonathan D. Yellen. Office of Dorcius. 511 Lucerne.
You can present it. She said that.
Thank you.
Greetings, Code Officer Eileen Dorcius for the City of Lake River Code Division, case number 13-948. The city attempted to enter to a stipulated agreement for a lien reduction with the property owner Jonathan Yellen for the property address 511 Lucerne Ave, Unit 301. The owner has otherwise met all requirements of section 2-69.3 and 2-69.3.1 of the city code ordinance relating to the reduction of the code enforcement liens. The lien existing on the property totals to the amount of $155,800. The city has reduced the lien to $46,740, and the property has been running in fines for 9 years. The city is not inclined to any further reductions at this time.
What type of property is this? Is it a residential or is it commercial?
Residential, it's a condo.
Okay. All right, sir, can you go ahead and say your name and relationship to the property, please?
Your Honor, Craig Overwager.
Okay. All right, and I'm seeing this coming to me on a mitigation request for a 9 years of fines occurring to 155,800. The city has presented the offer of reduction to the 46,740.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay,
So,
go ahead.
bluntly, Your Honor, my office didn't get involved until this morning. There's an attorney in New York who actually was part as well, who was taking it over, who didn't get involved until 2 days ago. The reason was a confluence of problematic events. The broker and the real estate agent and the title agents that they were taking care of all of this. Then we found out that it happened with another title search. If you notice all the documentation, at least that I've been able to see, the only notice the owner got was in 2013. Right, the city acknowledges it's a rental property. I don't think the city ever made any attempt to go past the 2013 notice, finding the owner's actual address rather than the rental address. In sum, if you, the fine should not be more than a year because there's been no reinspection and no reincurrence of the violation. In 2014, if the Yellens didn't rent it out and they didn't rent it out, it seems there's no evidence that they rented it out, those fines would have stopped anyway. So what we're asking for, Your Honor, and not to make it overly complicated, is to say there's a purchase and sale contract on the property right now. It's supposed to be sold. I believe it's by Thursday of next week. We're asking that Your Honor reduce the fines to 10% of the face value. We'll pay it out of closing right away, and we'll be done with this. And the city will have an owner who actually lives in the apartment rather than one with a vacant apartment in a condo living in New York.
Right, the problem with it is that it appears, especially when we have something that's been 9 years, that basically they took the order and they did you know what with it.
Well, I wouldn't disagree with Your Honor's perspective. However, to be blunt with you, I'm not sure what happened.
You just got here. This is not against you.
I'm not making those representations to you. I can make a very compelling argument that they didn't get the order that was posted in the door because the tenants didn't give it to them. But notwithstanding, you know, I'm not going to go out on a limb like that for some, but understanding the point, they want to correct it. We're talking about a $200 fee a year. This is not something that they would have not gotten had they been more proactive with their responsibilities.
Okay.
Do you agree with that perspective? Okay. She doesn't agree with that perspective.
The city cites based on the information in the property appraiser's office. If the property appraiser's office had that address, that's where it's going. So it's the owner's responsibility to keep that updated. And I appreciate the passion and the good, the attempt to make a good argument about the rental of the property for certain years. The problem is that one, if that was the case, nobody notified the city to say, hey, listen, we no longer have a tenant. We're in compliance, and see where that landed.
Oh,
And
absolutely right.
again, that goes to the responsibility of the property owner to go ahead and make sure that they stay in contact with the city. Hence why I'm making the statement that.
Absolutely not. I'm not taking a contrary position for your honor.
I know.
But the perspective is that we're getting to the point that we need to get to,
Yeah.
right? The city was gracious enough and made an offer. In principle, your honor, I don't believe the city would have objected or would object to a reduction or a remitter issue. We were working one out yesterday or last night. Mr. Davidoff was working one out last night where we were going to put the 46,000 into an escrow account. If your honor was kind enough to give the remitter, we would have paid right out of the escrow account. Honestly, they can sort the check though if they have to sooner than the close, but they'd rather just hold off to the close because it's been they don't want to lose the sale. Is basically where we're going.
That the city's not going to get involved in anything related to the sale. They have a proper lien, like you said, and it's showing up on title. So whichever you guys want to go ahead and address it. Is it accruing interest? No, so it is. So the amount that he is doing now is still going to be due 2 months from now when they close. So whichever with that. So that's good for you. Then you guys can structure whichever way you guys want to. So really, it's not going to have impact on the interest. So
That would be on the ultimate fine though.
well, I'm not by any means, I think by my comments, I think you know that I'm not inclined to go ahead and make any further reductions.
So 46 is enough.
Yes, it is going to be 46.
I appreciate your time. Your Honor.
Okay, all right. I hereby find that based on the evidence presented, that the reduction from the $155,800, the city has presented an offer for the 46,740, which I think is reasonable under the circumstances and in compliance with the city code of ordinances. And as such, I'm hereby reducing the lien. Actually, here's the caveat. When is your closing? I'm gonna work with you on that end. When is it?
Think it's next Tuesday.
Okay, next Tuesday. Okay.
Thanks.
So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and in my order, I'm gonna put in there that it's reduced to 46,740, payable within 30 days. Otherwise, it reverts back to the 155,800.
Actually, if you can say that it can be paid out of closing, that would be better.
No, I'm not saying closing. It's gotta be I'll give you 30 days. If you get before closing, send that check, get it over and done with.
Okay.
It'll get paid. So you have 30 days to do it. So it's,
Just in case it doesn't close.
Right, I'm just worried that they're not gonna let them close.
no,
It can be paid sooner.
you can do it today if you want for all purposes. Again, you have the flexibility.
But okay.
You have the flexibility of any time within those 30 days. So when you do it, that's totally your option. And obviously, I understand the concern with closing. Again, you have the flexibility to do it whichever way you want to.
I appreciate your time.
Okay, all righty, thank you.
Thank you. I can see you. I'm glad everybody laughed.
All right, next one.
Okay, next we are going to go to page 5, item 13, case number 22-101. Property address is 101 South H Street. Property owner is Peters Lake Avenue Landings LLC. Code Supervisor Hicks.
Morning, Bobby Hicks, the Lake Worth Beach, presenting this case for Officer Camacho. Property location is 101 South H Street. Case was initiated on 1/20 of 2022. The existing violation on the property is 2-75.11, foreclosed and vacant registry. Property needs to be registered through ProChamps. The complied violations are 15-39, 2-75.9, and 2-75.6.2. Formal notice of violation and hearing was issued by certified mail on 4/27 of 2022. The certified mail shows still in transit. The property in City Hall was posted on 4/27 of 2022. Property was inspected on 3/15 of 2022, and I last inspected on 5/24 of 2022. Photographs have been taken to show the violations, which are attached in the file. I have personal contact with the property owner by email. City's recommendation time is May 9th of 2022, or fines of $100 per day, plus the administrative cost of $425.29, also to be paid by May 9th.
That would be June.
Sorry, I don't know. June 9th.
Oh, people might not corrected it on the paper here.
So the only violation existing is the property vacant registry.
Okay, I'm looking at the pictures. They're vacant lot.
Yes. The wall that's was on the side that was painted, the grass was cleaned up,
Oh, okay.
maintained, it's empty.
So it's just getting registered.
Yes.
Oh, because it's unimproved. Got it. All right, so your name and relationship to the property, please.
Good morning.
Good morning.
This is Peters, the property owner.
Okay, do you understand the violation, the pending violation that you still have remaining?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Have you done that? Have you done that yet?
I'd like, no, I'd like to present an email that I sent after I complied to the city explaining why I've complied with all the violations in time
Okay,
for this hearing, other than registering with Pro-Trans
exactly, and that's
vacant property.
correct.
I'd like to know if I could give your honor an email that I sent regarding why to.
Yeah, just send it, show it to him and then I'll,
We've all seen the email.
okay, so I'll go ahead.
We don't see it.
Perfect, all right, thank you.
I could follow up that email, or if you have any questions.
It says here that, something about a current tenant, a vacant lot. What tenant did you have there?
So for the last 6 years, the property has been occupied with a tenant.
What type of tenant? It's a vacant property.
The man who's the tenant owns the body shop across the street, and he has a contract with rent-a-car companies, so he keeps his cars that are waiting to get into the shop.
So it's a lot, okay.
He's been there for 6 years. I did bring a copy of the lease. I don't think anyone's questioning whether there was a tenant there.
I just wanted to understand what it was because it was vacant.
No, I understand. Tenant just vacated on the 22nd or 23rd when I wrote that.
Your Honor.
Yeah.
The property does not have is not in the proper area for outdoor storage of vehicles, and they need a business license to operate, to have
Well,
it there.
At this point, it's moved because it's already gone. So my thought process here is, that was a violation that he could have been cited for, but he wasn't, so it's kind of bygone.
I
So
just want to make sure
Yeah.
that he knows that if it's not.
yeah, for the
it's not
future.
being registered because of these other uses, those other uses aren't allowed either. That's a different violation that would occur.
So food for thought.
I'm very aware of.
Okay. But you're not getting cited for that today, just so that you know. It's only about the registration portion. So I'm trying to think through this.
Some other stuff when you're done.
So I'm reading here the issue about you haven't been charged by Pro-Tem for a while because they thought it was vacant. And then you called and they say, I will gladly reimburse you if the city agrees.
They'll clear the account
Now,
but it takes time.
no, here's the issue, and here's where I'm going with that question. You're saying back then, you were in compliance with the registration because it wasn't vacant, but now you're finding out that you would have been in violation for something else. Had the city become aware that you were using it for something that was not a violation? Okay, that again, like I said, you're not in violation for that one because it's no longer the use. I understand you have the issue with Champs regarding payments that you believe you made in error that you should get reimbursed for. I get that portion. Now, where I'm at.
Can I answer?
Oh, go ahead. Did I get that wrong?
Because I'm not looking for reimbursement. What happened is when they asked me to register now that it's vacant, we went online and I did explain that in that letter. And they said, well, you owe for the last 5 or 6 years. And I said, we haven't paid. I said, well, it hasn't been vacant. And as I explained in that letter, they said, okay, we would need to write a letter to the city, not us, pro champs, get confirmation of that. They will then clear the account and then allow me to re-register. As I stated in the letter, I had no problem not showing up today because I live in Miami and I would have paid it, but they won't allow me to pay the $150 to register until I clear the account, which could take up to 30 days.
Okay, so what is,
Copy them on that.
what do you have to do to clear the account? I thought that it was just the payment of the 150 and that would clear it.
No, to clear the account, they have to confirm with the city that the property was occupied. And I have a copy of the lease.
For you,
And I'd like to give you some more supporting documents to show
So
that
the
the
city
city was aware that I was occupying this property with a tenant.
that's a circular problem because the city can't do that because it was an illegal tenant.
Excuse me?
The city can't do that because it was an illegal tenant from their purposes. So how are they gonna put in writing, oh yeah, they had a tenant? That's almost having the city say, oh yeah, we were perfectly fine with that illegal use you had, which they're not gonna do.
Right, but the city had issued me letters before on the tenant. It doesn't say anything about getting a business license all the way back from 2018. The city was very aware of that there were tenants there. I'm not sure if you live local or if you're aware of, the area, but this is right by the new Bohemian building. And this property was used. They would not let me get a business license. They allowed me to stay there because they granted the same parking to the new brewery that went in. So they couldn't be biased and he had no business license. So it was a quiet thing. They allowed me to be there. I have from 2018, where they're citing my tenant to put plates on his car, never once mentioning about that I need a business license because they knew that they allowed it without a business license.
So just to follow that logic, let's say
I mean, I own this property since 2003. There would be no reason why I would evade to pay $150. There was no reason to be why I would not. All these officers know me. And I don't say this to gain any type of bias. We're the largest commercial landlord in the city. This is my first time I've ever in 23 years been before this. And I wrote in that letter, I am willing to profit $150 not to come here today. Even
No, I get
to
it.
show, to just give me the time to clear it. I've done everything. And again, never been before you or any magistrate in 23 years. And I really don't even know why I was forced to be here, because if the tenant stayed, which he was unable to because of what the city required, I kind of agree with the city of what they required on the new Bohemian building there. I wouldn't want to see a vacant lot with cars either. I'm all for the growth of the city, that rather than to collect $1,500 from the tenant. So I agreed with them, but I saw no reason to come here to pay, even if there are no fees, because I complied, even if you agree with me, to pay $425 when I'm sitting here arguing just to clear an account to save the $1,700 I feel that I'm not supposed to pay. And now I'm going to be, rammed with a $425 fee, when all they could have said is, okay, we'll give you the time to clear this. Give me 15, 20 days. You see, I copied Pro Champs on it. I'm not trying to evade anything.
No, I get it. I don't want you to get the impression that I'm not following your logic. And again, once you said Miami, it cost you more than $150 just in gas to get here.
Yeah. I have no problem, like I said, proffering the money. I'll pay them.
I'm trying to figure out how to work it. So,
And again, they've always been fair with me.
did you by any chance get anything from Pro Champ in writing?
They don't put anything in writing other than when you go on their site, they're showing what I owe, but they were very understanding of it because I walked her through it. I spent an hour on the phone with them. And another thing I just want to say, if the tenant stayed, the reason why I feel that I shouldn't even be here today, if the tenant stayed, I have that the city was going to give up to 120 days for him to comply. You have a letter for me that I complied, and I wrote the panel here, the officers, and just begging to say, I don't want to come. I'm going to profit the money. Just give me some time. You were willing to give 120 extra days. Here it's in writing. You can't give me 15 days to rectify this, or whatever days you feel. I mean, I worked on it. Again.
I mean, you're sitting here for the most part, everybody has gotten time, so you'll be okay. It's just, and I understand that you're trying to go ahead and you're cutting the middle between a website and the city with the ordinance. So it's trying to go ahead and get you in compliance with the registration, but I also understand the hiccup you're having with ProChamp. So
Because it's like $1,900. If it was like $400 or $500.
I understand.
I'm a businessman. I weigh my time. Why waste?
I
your
understand.
time? You know, take the risk of paying fees. Let me just pay it. But at $1,900, I feel that I should have been given some.
oh, where are you getting the $1,900?
That's what they're saying I owe for 6 years.
This is what I see on that. Bring the
Okay.
computer over if you'd like. I show them these years with these amounts, and I'll bring the computer over if you'd like to see it.
That's not what I have in front of me, is it?
This would be the amounts that were owed during that time.
But the citation happened in 4/27.
This is from ProChamps.
Too.
Would you like to see their
Your
website?
Honor,
Go ahead.
what the city can offer is that if he doesn't want to pay for the property being vacant for that long, he can pay for the business license on the property for that intervening time period. And can't get one, because the use.
No, because he has to have the inspection, you wouldn't be able to do it. Okay.
I'm just trying, we were trying to.
Yeah, I'm trying, this is, everybody's trying to work with you.
Joe,
Everybody's trying to.
Same thing, and I'm like, well, that's almost
Yeah.
impossible, because.
Everybody's trying to go ahead and figure this out.
Avoid both sides. Someone has to get paid.
Yeah.
And I'd much rather pay the city than.
But the problem
Hey,
is, the
ProChamps.
property should have been vacant all those years.
I mean, understood, but again, that's not before us, so
Yeah.
even if it wasn't a violation, you can show me, I mean, anything you want.
They violated the actual tenant who's been there since 18.
But again, remember that this is not before me. It's information, but you're not getting tagged on the use.
No.
You understand that?
But yes, I agree with
Okay.
you, but it's showing that the city did, in 2018, sees the tenants there. They never asked for a business license.
Again, neither here nor there for my purposes. I'm not tagging you on that.
Okay,
It's only the registration with ProChamp, that's it. And we're trying to figure out a way around it to get you in compliance, whether it's by addressing ProChamp so you can register like the city is asking you, or another viable alternative for you to get to the same place. So my thought seems to be that the ProChamp issue is the easier way. But if what they're requesting, and they never sent you anything in writing saying, hey, if you get me this.
oh, if you see in my letter, I'm like, well, how would I even know that I owe this money if I didn't call?
I understand that, but this is you. I'm asking for something from ProChamp. If you have something from ProChamp other than just a narrative of your conversation.
I do have.
I'm sorry, so were you, I don't think you were sworn in, were you?
Douglas Peters.
Raise your right hand. Do you swear from the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
And everything that you said was truthful and correct, correct?
Yes, I do.
Okay,
I can.
don't let me catch it early, but
If you give me 1 minute, I'll pull up.
yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
It's a screenshot showing what they're saying I owe, which again, they're very
But it's-
understanding and
it's-
they're willing to clear it. They are willing to do it. They didn't give any hesitation.
Did you have somebody at ProChamp you're talking to? Like a specific contact person?
No, it's whoever answers the phone.
All right, so probably, I think maybe the viable way to do it is that if we can get a contact person, it's gonna need some city involvement. And I agree, I don't see why the city would need to put a document saying it's all good. But perhaps if ProChamps is a vendor of the city, right? Perhaps there might be a way that the city can go ahead and put in a call and try to resolve the issue, perhaps.
Would you like to see it?
Yeah,
Sorry, I was
That's
incorrect. It's
okay.
1800, not 19.
that's a good idea.
But it shows us 5
Got
years
it.
if you want to scroll.
Thank you.
Okay, that's where you got the 150. 21. Is this from the city?
That's from ProChamps.
That was your access?
Yes.
They have a button here that says waive payment.
Excuse me?
There's a button here that says waive payment. Is that
So when you go. to
Yeah,
pay-
from his, remember that he logs in differently.
No, it's correct. So when you go to pay it, it won't allow you to, and then you have to call, and then you call and say, no, we can't accept your money till you clear it. And then,
Remember that again, this is under his login information is gonna be different than yours because he's logging in on behalf of the city. You log in as a user.
oh, okay, I
So
was
you see
able to
that?
pay it.
Hold on. So I'm wondering if with that, there's a button that says web payment from the city login. That might be a way to go ahead and contact ProChamps. Have them clear the account with a waiver of the payments. That way he can go ahead and and register and come into compliance with the ProChamps registration.
So he's gonna have to pay the pro-trams still. Because he did not have it registered.
Okay, so just as the case is coming before me. Today as a new case. And I'm not sure unless there's something special in the ordinance that I can retroactively fine him for violations that occurred years ago. So that's a hesitation I have from the get-go.
OCAM's also never notified me on any shape or form, or else this would have been ended a long time ago. I'm not sure if they had to, or the responsibility.
I've never
But it's
used
all-
ProChamps.
What I'm trying to say is there's no evasion here. Again, there's 57 properties we own in Lake Beach, and after 22, 23 years, this wouldn't be a case that would there would have been reoccurring over years that I would have been here many times before if this was a pattern. I had no knowledge of this whatsoever.
Well, one thing that you definitely want to go ahead and take a look at is make sure that they have your contact information, especially given
They
that.
do, they
Okay.
do, and it's correct. So it didn't have to be changed because I have never moved since I moved to the state of Florida.
Has anybody found anything giving me the authority to retroactively fine?
I think the issue is that we're not asking you to retroactively fine. You're acknowledging that the violation
Yes.
exists.
And he has to correct it.
We're asking for a per day fine now. He has to correct it. If ProChamp says his registration has been out of date for that long, then his registration has been out of date for that long because the property was supposed to be vacant. There was no business license. There was no legal and official tenant for a business use on the property. So it gets registered as vacant properties. It's either one or the other. Either you have, the business license and the tenant, or you have business property that has to be registered. Because there was no business license, ProChamp was tagged it as vacant property. And so you're not involved in affecting that part.
Okay.
That's the issue with ProChamp. You're saying today there was a violation.
Correct.
That here is, he needs to register and here's the fine. Registering ProChamp, figuring out how, the past years.
I understand that, but I also understand that in order for him to get there, and I understand that to a certain extent, it's ProChamp who has the log of the fines, which are coming at the request of the city, because the city's saying, hey, listen, this person's not in violation. Now, I'm looking through the file to see if there was any notice provided to the property owner about those running.
Never.
Because again, notice an opportunity to be heard. If he didn't have notice, he couldn't be heard. So, again, I checked briefly through here. I don't see anything that dates back to that. There might be something in the system. So how does ProChamp know that they need to go ahead and charge him?
Because the property has been, according to Pro Champs, the property has been vacant. There was no business license for the property. It's a vacant lot. Our ordinance states vacant lots and vacant structures. So they know for those years that it's been vacant, he owes them for the vacant lot.
How does Pro Champ know?
Because he registered it as a vacant property in 2016.
Oh, so you were the one who registered it.
Was registered in 2016, 2000, and then the next year the tenant came in. And I will tell you that, again, may not be of interest to you or any credibility, but the city was very aware all the way up to the old city manager, including William Morris, about us using that property.
So, but you see now the fact that you were the one who registered changes it, because all this time when I'm talking, okay, well, we got it clear, so you can go ahead and register because you didn't know. You were the one who registered, so you knew about Pro Champ.
No, we received a letter that it had to be registered back in 2016, so we registered.
Correct.
But once it was rented, no one had, that's it. We have a tenant.
Did you go back to Pro Champs and tell them that you know that you gotta get unregistered? Because if you made the account, how does the city get into your account and tell them, hey, listen, now the property is vacant? One, they would have not known, and two, they don't have access to your account. So it would have been your responsibility to go ahead and do that.
Right, but well, how's it my responsibility? Because
You registered.
right, but no one ever says that you have to unregister. That's sort of like a reoccurring gym memberships that they have outlawed and things like that. I mean, it's really unfair. Again,
The problem is that then that's outside of the city. That's a third party that you register with. I understand that the city
well, it's
requested.
forced by the city. It may be outside, but the city issued a letter saying that I had to. I complied.
Which you did. But then you knew because you leased it that it was no longer vacant.
But
So that was the point in
where is-
time when you should have gone to Pro Champs and say, hey, it's no longer vacant.
But that's assuming that I should know that, or any layman should know that because we joined, we should now have to tell them they're not. No, I think, and again, I'm halfway smart. I have a lease. I have a letter from the city who's gone there before and issued me something. Why would I have to go tell them? The city has been there, wrote me a letter in 2018 about the tenants. And again, I'm not trying to evade any of this. All I'm saying is I shouldn't be here. I wrote a letter asking for a little time to fix this. I fix all the real violations that cost money. And way beyond the scope of what, because they're building the Bohemian, they dumped all their garbage all around it. So it cost me $800 to clean up Bohemian's garbage. I didn't argue. She said to pressure clean the wall. I didn't pressure clean it. I pressure cleaned and painted it. I took care of everything. All I was asking for is no evasion, no bias. Can you please cancel the meeting? Pro Champs has agreed to clear this account. They just want confirmation. And then
The problem is that the confirmation that Pro Champs wants is not something the city is going to give you because you were in violation. That you didn't get cited for the violation, but you were still in violation. So the city can't go ahead and put a letter, oh yeah, by the way, he had a tenant and it's all good and fine and dandy, because for all effects and purposes, you were in violation. So it wasn't a proper tenant.
correct.
So under the circumstances, I will tell you this, you were better off getting cited by Pro Champs for those amounts than if you had been caught with a tenant that was not supposed to be there.
No, I would have just paid the business license. I mean, you make it, again, it's going, leaning towards a thing like I'm here to evade again.
I'm sorry, I don't buy.
Tenants in this town. Why? I wouldn't be here over the Pro Champs.
I
List of things.
at no point in time did I say you're trying to skirt away. On the opposite end. I see it from your perspective. I get it. And I've been spending the last, 20 minutes trying to go ahead and work with you and work over backwards. But again, when you have, it's a third party vendor that you registered with. I don't know if they send you emails or reminders, or you're probably seeing the bills of maybe there was.
Zero notice.
But again, that's something that is going between you and Pro Champ.
Correct. But still, on their website, it never, on anywhere does it say that you have to now unregister.
Then that's a website issue. The city does not control that website.
I'm just asking you to understand that I was here, I was trying to straighten the account. Whether I could or not, I understand what you're saying, and I kind of agree.
Yeah.
But to come here to get more fines and more court costs, it just doesn't make sense to me. It just doesn't.
And I understand that you're not getting fined because I'm gonna give you time to go ahead and fix it. The only fine that you have, it would be the administrative fees and costs, which they
I
always
feel
request.
that should be waived. Well, I mean, again, I am agreeing with what you're saying.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of.
But we're almost at the same page.
It's kind of like a double-edged. sword,
And I
you know?
get it.
See, it's not like I'm trying to win the argument, I get it, but to go ahead and now pay court costs and the time and traveling, when all I was asking for time, we could have really eliminated it because all they had to answer, because I sent 3 emails and I really never got the answer after asking, is just to say, we can't do that, but I didn't get that, so we're gathered here today. So I'm just asking.
Okay, so I'll ask you this, knowing, having the information you have now, what's your plan?
My path,
Your plan, knowing what you know.
based on the information that I've heard and everything, I would say, in my opinion, that it's a double-edged sword. We can't go the other route, so I have to try to, within the next Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, try to lower the thing with pro chebs. If they won't, I have no choice but to pay it.
Okay,
Because again, after 23 years, I'm not, gonna have a problem with pro chebs.
exactly, and that's where I'm going with it.
I just don't
So,
want to spend additional money. I just don't feel it's fair. Because this could have been eliminated by just answering the email and saying, we can't do that. You must pay pro checks.
okay, go ahead.
I emailed you.
So did I.
I emailed you and Bobby emailed you also.
What? No, that wasn't said. You said I said, do I have to attend the meeting? And yes, you have to attend the meeting.
And
But that was never addressed, the question of that. It was never, or else I wouldn't drive this. I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't go through this.
What was the
I
response?
even gave
Okay,
him until 8:15 this morning to register the property, and I told him Bobby waited in the office till 8:15 this morning to see if the property was registered, because if it was, he was not gonna bring the case to hearing. He still did not register, and I stayed till about 7 o'clock last night. I think I emailed him about 6:44 last night.
She is correct on everything.
when was the email sent
I
from
emailed
him?
him last night. Bobby emailed him before he left yesterday.
That was yesterday.
And then I emailed him last night. He said I was correct. I said, we'll wait until 8:15 this morning before the hearing, and we'll check again and see if the property is registered, and we won't.
And she did, and she was very gracious, and so was Mr. Hicks. But the reason I came to the meeting is because I was going to try to mitigate and explain my point that.
No, you were better off coming in.
Take the chance to explain it, then, instead of maybe I would just pay the $1,800. So again, I wasn't trying to avoid. If I could have logged on this morning and paid the $150, of course I would have done that. Like you said, there's more in gas money, let alone the time. I think the only thing I'm asking for is a little time, very short time, to try to negotiate with pro champs. I understand the city doesn't want to get involved, and I'm just asking them to waive any fine, which I think you said there is none, and if you could waive the fees. So if I have to eat the 1,800, which I'm sure I'm going to have to, I think that's enough penalty for never being put on notice. But at no point do I find the city at fault for this.
Okay,
The city is willing to give him until June 30th to come into compliance.
I think his issue is the addition, and I don't have the problem with the time, is the fee. So what I was actually writing here is, my inclination right now is if he gets the registration taken care of within 10 days, I'd reduce the fees and costs to $205.
The fees and costs.
The fees and costs. They're not, those are locked, right?
When they say law,
29.
they can't be waived.
No, they cannot.
Sometimes I have my hands tied. This is one of those. Okay, so let's do this. Then if it's gonna be the 425, then I'm gonna go ahead and June 30th, what's today, May? That gives you 30 days. You should be able to go ahead and negotiate with performance 30 days by June 30th. Okay. Does he still have the ability, no, because of the violation, he wouldn't have the ability to come back and request for mitigation because it's commercial too, right? Yeah. Alrighty, I hereby find that the violation, as stating that notice of violation did exist and continues to exist. I'm hereby ordering the property owner to come into compliance by June 30th of 2022, otherwise face a fine of $100 a day till the violations are corrected.
Thank you. I appreciate your
Thank
time.
Do you want your email back?
Oh, yes.
Okay, next we're gonna go to page 7, item number 20, case number 22-392, property owners is 527 North Dixie Highway. Property owner is Lindvester's Court. Supervisor Hicks. Yes, 527 North Dixie, case 22-392, and I believe they need to be sworn in.
All right, could you raise your right hand? Sure, from the right hand. Yeah, do the same thing. Right hand. Just swear from the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Oh, wow, pretty colors.
Bobby Hicks, City of Lake Worth Beach, case number 22-0392. Property location is 527 North Dixie Highway. Case was initiated on 3/4/2022 for the existing violations. 14-32 to apply and obtain a City of Lake Worth Beach business license. Sections 14-35 to obtain and previous occupancy inspection. Formal notice of violation and hearing was issued by certified mail on 3/31/2022. The certified mail was received on 4/4/2022. Property was posted on 5/3/2022. Property was re-inspected on 5/3/2022, and I last inspected on 5/24/2022. Photographs have been taken to show the violations. I personally have not had contact with the property owner. The city's recommendation time is June 27th, 2022. A fine of $100 per day plus the administrative cost of $425.29, also to be paid by June 27th. 2022. I did present this case for Officer Anthony Camacho, who's not here today.
Okay, go ahead and please state your name and relationship to the case. Okay, and what's your relationship to the Lindvester's Court?
Real business partner.
Okay,
Can I put him on the line?
I'm sorry?
Can I put him on the phone? So it's the one.
Oh, he's not sworn in and I can't swear him right over the phone.
This is my son.
Oh, okay. All right, so do you understand what the violations are? Okay, yes, all right. So where are we at in trying to get those corrected?
The thing is, we just buy the property on last year in January.
Okay,
When we buy it, the other people wasn't in, I think they have a lease with the other owner.
Okay.
We thought we were supposed to move when we go, so we're supposed to get the open fix and everything. But she keeps saying she's moving and moving, she's still staying there. When those things wasn't there, wasn't, participating about the property yet. When that person wasn't there, she's the one who put those state on the stuff. And she said she's supposed to move in the next 2 months. That's why we're waiting to fix everything that we're supposed to do.
okay, so the right now you haven't been cited for any, anything that requires physical work. All that you're getting cited for right now is your business license because it's rented. So, it's an application, you go ahead and apply, and you're also required to have an inspection to go, because you have a tenant there. Did you guys purchase to go ahead and live at the property and just happen to buy with a tenant, or is it your intent to keep it rented?
We intend to fix everything so ready after.
So you're gonna be renting it. Okay, so you might as well just go ahead and get that business license because you're gonna need it, whether it's this tenant that stays or a new tenant that you put in, you're going to need that business license. So there's no way around it. Might as well just do it now.
The thing is, we was waiting to get everything fixed before we apply for the license. That's what was supposed to do.
Who said that that's the way you're supposed to do it? That might be the way you want to do it, not the way the city wants you to do it. Okay, so whenever you have a rental property, you're gonna have to have a business license for that rental property. And that is an application and it requires an inspection before the license will be issued. Okay, so you have it rented now, you intend to rent it in the future, you need to go ahead and take care of that, okay? All right. 30 days should be okay for the business license, right? But because that's a simple application or is there a backup?
This is a commercial, so business is not.
Oh, it's a commercial. Oh, it's not a rental, it's a commercial. Okay, so it's a commercial,
The other property's going next month.
even more so.
Yeah, I don't know why they weren't put together.
I was just notified that the tenant, correct, is on the agenda for next month.
For the work, for some work or that something they did? Were you aware of that tenant is on the agenda for apparently some violations?
Yes.
Okay, so today was only about the license.
She's on, I'm sorry.
So she's
on
aware.
the agenda.
Excuse me, just so we're clear, these are two separate parcels. I'm not quite sure why they were split, but 527 and 520, this is 527 North Dixie next month, 523 North Dixie is going.
Okay. So you knew about the distinction in the properties, right? Okay, so the one that we're talking about is the 527 North Dixie Highway, which is the one that you need the license for. So the other one is the one you're gonna have to come back next month for, because you're on the agenda.
Okay.
And that would be the one that, yeah, they did them separately because they're separate parcels.
I see what you mean.
Yeah, okay. So for the one that's before me, it's only relating to the business license. I have every reason to believe there'll be a different magistrate when you come in here next month to address the other parcel, okay? All right, so in terms of the business license, again, apply for it, get the inspection taken care of, retire that because you're gonna get no matter what. All right, so 30 days,
Yeah, I think so. Like I said, it was
So-
initially cited in March.
Okay.
That was March 4th.
so 30 days right now would give her time, so long as she will jump us on it right now.
She jumps on it.
Okay, so what you want to do is you want to jump on it, because we're only going to give you 30 days to go ahead and come into compliance. 30 days? June 27th. Yeah, that's
Sure.
30 days. We'll give her June 30th to the next agenda. Well, I'm going to give you till June 30th to make it even to the next agenda, to the next meeting.
Can I get the information so we can?
Yeah, you're going to get something in the mail. All right, so I hereby find that the violations as stated in the notice of violation did exist and continue to exist. I'm hereby ordering the property owner to come into compliance by June 30th of 2022, otherwise face a fine of $100 a day until the violations are corrected. I'm also granting the city's request in the amount of $425.29 to be paid by June 27th of 2022. And you're gonna get something in the mail.
So there's nothing that we can do for the waiver?
You have to go ahead and get into compliance and get that business license. And you're gonna have to be here anyways for that month. I gave you till like the next hearing. You're gonna have to be here anyways for that other one. So it kind of evens it out. For date wise, okay? All right, and you probably want to go ahead and I'm not the one hearing that one next month. You might want to start going ahead and knocking out as many violations as you can before that hearing. As many as you can. If you can do them all, then keep your code enforcement officer informed. Because if you get them rectified prior to the next hearing, you don't even have to come. He'll comply you out. And you save also that 429 on top of that.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, it looks like we have now completed all the audience members.
Yes.
So we'll be taking 5-minute break.
Yes.
5-minute break.
Thank you.